Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayanudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Rutamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki. Om Agnanathimidandasya Gnanandjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Hinatasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtam Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminti Namani Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Chaitanya Bhagavata Chapter 6 The Lord begins studying and enacts childhood mischief. In this way, Gauranga, who is non-different from Gopala, enjoyed his pastime. Soon the time came for the Lord to begin reading and writing. At an auspicious time, on an auspicious day, Jagannath Mishra performed the ceremony for beginning his son's education. Then after a few days, all the family friends came to observe the ceremony of the child's ear piercing and shaving of the head, leaving only a shika. The Lord could write the letters of the alphabet after seeing them only once. Everyone was astonished to see this. Within 2 or 3 days, the Lord completed his study of the conjunct letters. He then constantly wrote various holy names of Krishna. Day and night, he enthusiastically wrote and read names of the Lord like Rama, Krishna, Murari, Mukunda, and Vanamali. The most fortunate persons of Nadia saw the Lord of Vaikunta study with other young boys. The Lord sweetly recited the Bengali alphabet. K, K, G, G. Everyone who heard him was captivated. Sri Gaura Sundara performed wonderful pastimes. He would demand things that were impossible to obtain. If he saw a bird flying in the sky, he desired to have it. And when it was not given to him, he would cry and roll in the dust. Sometimes he would demand the moon or the stars in the sky. And when he did not get them, he cried and thrashed his arms and legs. People tried to pacify him by taking him in their arms, but Vishwambara did not relent and continued to demand, "Give me, give me." There was, however, one sure remedy. Whenever he heard the names of Hari, he would stop crying. When people clapped their hands and chanted the name of Hari, he would be pacified and give up his restlessness. So this is actually a teaching for all of us. When our mind becomes restless, we have to simply take our chanting bag and start chanting. As everyone chanted the names of Hari to please the child, the house of Jagannatha Mishra appeared just like the transcendental abode of Vaikunta. One day, in spite of everyone chanting the names of Hari, the Lord did not stop crying. They all said to him, "Listen, dear Nimai, come and dance nicely while we chant the name of Hari." The Lord did not listen to them and continued to cry. So they asked him, "Dear child, why are you crying?" They all asked him, "What do you want? We will bring it for you, but don't cry." The Lord replied, "If you want to save my life, then go quickly to the house of the two Brahmanas. Jagadisha and Hiranya are both great devotees, and I desire something from them. Today is Ekadashi and they are both fasting, but they prepared varieties of foodstuffs for Lord Vishnu. If I could eat their offering, I will be cured and be able to walk." Hearing this impossible proposal, Mother Shachi lamented, You're requesting something that is not sanctioned in the Vedas or in ordinary dealings. Everyone laughed upon hearing the child's demand and they said, all right, we'll give you this, but please stop crying. Those two Brahmanas were great Vaishnavas and the dearest friends of Jagannath Mishra. When those first class Brahmanas heard the child's request, they became fully satisfied. The two Brahmanas explained, this is an amazing demand. We've never heard of such an intelligent child. How did he know that today is Ekadashi? How did he know that we have prepared all kinds of foodstuff for the Lord? We can understand that since this child is so attractive, Gopala must have manifested in his body. Lord Narayana performs pastimes through the body of this child. Sitting in his heart, Narayana makes the child speak. Thinking like this, the two Brahmanas brought the various offerings and happily gave them to Nimai. The two Brahmanas then said, dear child, please eat these foodstuffs. Our desire to serve Krishna is fulfilled today. When one is blessed by Krishna, he receives the intelligence to engage in devotional service. Unless one is a servant of the Lord, he cannot have such intelligence. Dadami buddhi yogam tham yena mam upayanti te. Krishna gives intelligence to a devotee engaged in devotional service. Without performing devotional service, no one can understand Lord Chaitanya, from whose hair pores innumerable universes emanate. That same Lord, in the form of a young Brahmana child, performed pastimes that his eternal servants saw to the full satisfaction of their eyes. The Lord was fully satisfied to receive that prasada and he ate a little of each item. The Lord joyfully ate the foodstuffs that had been offered by his devotees. Thus, by his own will, his intense craving was appeased. Everyone present happily chanted the name of Hari as the Lord ate and danced to the chanting of his holy names. Some of the prasada fell on the floor and some of the prasada fell on the people present there. In this way, Tridasharaya performed his pastimes. Okay, Tridasharaya, new name. The Lord of Tridasha refers to he who destroys the living entities' threefold miseries, the Lord of those who are under the influence of birth, existence, or death, and childhood, youth, or old age, or the Lord of 33 demigods, the 12 Adityas, the 11 Rudras, the 8 Vasus, and the 2 Vishwadevas. So that he is called Tridasha Raya. So one who destroys all miseries, the Lord of those who are under the influence of birth, death, old age, disease, and the Lord of 33 demigods or groups of demigods. That same Lord who is glorified in the Vedas and Puranas thus played in the courtyard of Mother Shachi. Lord Vishwambara drowned in the mood of a restless child as he sported with other restless Brahmana boys. As the Lord went to study at various places with his friends, no one was able to control him. Whenever the Lord met some new boys, he would tease them, and when the other boys retaliated, a quarrel broke out. By the strength of the Lord, he and his friends always won such quarrels, and the other boys would leave in defeat. When Lord Gaurasundara became grey with a covering of dust and decorated with drops of ink, he appeared most enchanting. At noon, after their studies, the Lord and his friends joyfully went to bathe in the Ganges. Vishwambara and his friends eagerly entered the Ganges, wherein they enjoyed splashing water on one another. Who can describe the opulence of Navadvipa? Innumerable people took bath at each of the bathing ghatas. I am unable to say how many saints, ascetics, householders, sannyasis, and children came there to take bath. As the Lord swam in the Ganges with his associates, sometimes he would dive below the surface and sometimes he would float. In this way, he enjoyed various water sports. While engaged in water sports, Lord Gaura Sundara would splash water with his feet on those nearby. People ordered him to stop this, but the Lord ignored them and they were unable to catch him. The Lord compelled everyone to bathe again and again by touching them or spitting on them. Being unable to restrain him, the Brahmanas approached his father to complain about him. The Brahmana said, Dear friend Jagannath Mishra, please hear about your son's misdeeds. Due to his misdeeds, we are unable to bathe properly. Someone said, he splashes water on me and disturbs my meditation. Another complained, Your son asked me, Who are you meditating on? In Kali Yuga, I am directly Lord Narayana. Someone said, He stole my Shivalinga. And someone else said, He ran away with my chadar. Someone said, I kept the ingredients for worshipping Vishnu on the bank of the Ganges. When I went to take bath, your son sat on the Lord's asana, ate the bhoga, smeared himself with the sandalwood pulp, decorated himself with the flowers, and ran off. Then he said, Why are you unhappy? He for whom you arranged those ingredients has himself enjoyed them. Someone said, I was standing in the water chanting my Gayatri, and he grabbed my feet and pulled me down. Another said, He always takes my flower basket and fresh cloth. Someone else said, He steals my Bhagavad Gita. Then someone complained, My son is very young, and your son makes him cry by putting water in his ears. Another person said, He comes behind me, climbs on my shoulders, and then jumps in the water, exclaiming, I am Lord Mahesha. Someone said, Your son sits on my asana and eats the offerings I have prepared for Lord Vishnu. Then he worships Lord Vishnu. When I come out from my bath, he throws sand on me. He is surrounded by all the other mischievous boys. He exchanges the men's cloth with the women's, and then everyone is embarrassed when they go to dress. Oh Jagannath Mishra, you are our dear friend. Therefore, we are informing you that your son does such things every day. He remains in the water for up to 6 hours. So, how will his body remain fit? At the same time, all the neighborhood girls approached Mother Shachi in an angry mood. They all complained to Shachi, Oh Thakurani, listen to what your son has done. He steals our clothes and speaks very badly. If we protest, he throws water on us and starts a quarrel. By force, he scatters whatever fruits and flowers we bring for puja. When we come out from our bath, he throws sand on us. He's surrounded by all sorts of mischievous boys. He sneaks up behind us and shouts in our ears. One of the girls said, He spit water in my face. And then he threw okada seeds, which induce itching, in my hair. Someone else said, he said he wants to marry me. Every day he behaves with us like this. Does your Nimai think he is the son of a king? The activities of your son Nimai exactly resemble what we have heard about the activities of the son of Nanda. When we tell our parents about your son's mischief, they will surely quarrel with you. Therefore, please control your son immediately, for such activities are not proper in Nadia. On hearing these complaints, the Lord's mother smiled, embraced the girls, and sweetly spoke to them. When Nimai returns today, I will tie him up and beat him with a stick so that he won't disturb you again. All the girls then took the dust from Shachi Devi's feet on their heads and went to take bath. In spite of Nimai's mischief, everyone ultimately felt fully satisfied. People came to complain to Jagannath Mishra for amusement, but he became upset and angrily replied, This boy behaves like this every day. He doesn't allow anyone to take bath peacefully in the Ganges. I'm going to punish him right now. Although they all tried to pacify Jagannath Mishra, they were unable. Gauranga, the lord of all living entities, could understand that Jagannath Mishra was searching for him in an angry mood. Sri Gaura Sundara was most enchanting as he continued sporting in the water of the Ganges with other boys. All the girls said, Listen, Vishwambara, your father is coming. You better get out of here. As Jagannath Mishra came on his way to find the Lord among his friends, the Brahmana girls ran away in fear. Meanwhile, Nimai instructed his friends to tell his father, Your son has not come for bath today. He went straight home after school. We are also waiting for him. After instructing his friends, the Lord went home by another path, just as Jagannath Mishra arrived at the bathing ghata. Jagannath Mishra looked all around but could not see his son among the boys. He then inquired, Where did Vishwambara go? The boys replied, he didn't come for bath today. He went straight home after school. We are all waiting for him. Searching all over with a stick in his hand, Jagannath Mishra grumbled in anger on being unable to find his son. The Brahmanas who had earlier complained to Jagannath Mishra in jest came and spoke to him again. Vishwambara left for home out of fear. You please go home and speak to him there. If he comes back here again and creates mischief, then we will catch him and hand him over to you. Whatever we said to you was simply in jest. Actually, there is no one more fortunate than you in the three worlds. How can one be affected by hunger, thirst, or lamentation if he has a son? Say, if he has such a son at home, you're certainly most fortunate to have the Supreme Lord as your son and to serve his lotus feet. Even if Vishwambara commits millions of offenses, we will still keep him in our hearts. Because these Brahmanas had all been devotees of Krishna for many lifetimes, they had fine intelligence. In this way, the Lord enjoyed various pastimes with his eternal servants, which ordinary people cannot understand. Jagannath Mishra said, he is your son as well. You must not be offended by his actions. After embracing all the Brahmanas, Jagannath Mishra happily returned home. Meanwhile, Lord Vishwambara returned home by another path. He resembled the bright moon as he carried attractive books in his hand. Drops of ink beautified the large golden limbs and resembled bumblebees surrounding a champaka flower. The Lord called out, Mother, give me some oil. Let me go take bath. Hearing her son's request, Mother Shachi became joyful. She could not see any sign that he had taken bath. After giving him the oil, Shachi Devi thought, what did those girls and Brahmanas complain about? He has drops of ink on his body and is wearing the same clothes and carrying the same books. Soon after, Jagannath Mishra arrived there and Vishwambara climbed into his arms. Sri Mishra forgot everything of the world by that embrace. And he was filled with ecstasy as he looked at his son. Jagannath Mishra was astonished to see that Nimai was covered with dust and devoid of any sign that he had taken bath. He said, Vishwambara, what kind of mentality do you have? Why don't you let people take bath? Why do you steal the ingredients meant for worshipping Lord Vishnu? Don't you have any reverence for Lord Vishnu? The Lord replied, today I have not yet gone for bath. My friends have gone ahead of me. They have misbehaved with those Brahmanas and girls who are blaming me even though I wasn't there. Since they blame me when I wasn't even there, now I will actually do some mischief to them. Saying this, the Lord smiled as he left to take bath in the Ganges, where he met again with his friends. See, look at Nima, is so intelligent. Um, he did not refer to previous day's actions. He just said, today I have not gone. Uh, when Vishwambara arrived there, the boys embraced him and laughed after hearing what happened. They all praised him, saying, Nima, you are very clever. You have escaped a good beating today. As the Lord engaged in water sports with the boys at home, Jagannath, Mishra, and Shachi were contemplating. Whatever they complained about cannot be false. But then, why were there no symptoms on his body of his having taken bath? His body was covered with dust. He had the same dress and same books. His hair was dry, everything as though he had not taken bath. It seems that Sri Vishwambara is not an ordinary human being. Perhaps Lord Krishna has appeared by his internal potency as a human being in our house. Otherwise, he may be some other great personality. We don't know. While they were contemplating in this way, the Lord, who is the jewel among the Brahmanas, arrived there. In the ecstasy of seeing their son, the couple forgot all their ideas and became so filled with affection that nothing else was important. Hmm. See, this stage we have to reach where nothing else is important but Krishna's pleasure. The 2 praharas, 6 hours that the Lord spent at school studying, seemed like 2 yugas for the couple. The Vedas chanted the glories of this couple with millions of mouths in millions of ways, till they could not reach the limit of their good fortune. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the feet of Shachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra, whose Son is the Lord of innumerable universes. In this way, the Lord of Vaikuntha enjoys his pastimes, which by the influence of his external energy no one can understand. Accepting Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. Chapter 7. Sri Vishwarupa takes sannyas. All glories to Sri Gaurachandra, the Lord of all lords. All glories to Vishwambara's beloved devotees. All glories to Jagannath and Sachi's son, who is the life and soul of all. O Lord, please deliver the living entities by your merciful glance. In this way, Sri Gaura Sundara manifested his childhood pastimes in Navadvipa. The Lord regularly engaged in mischief making. He would not stop even by his mother's order. Whenever his parents tried to restrain him, he would create twice as much mischief. He would then break anything at home that he could get his hands on. Thus, out of fear, his parents no longer tried to restrain the Lord, who was then free to fully enjoy his pastimes. The topics of Adi Khanda are like a stream of nectar, for they relate the childhood pastimes of Lord Narayana. The Lord was not afraid of anyone, including his parents, but he displayed humility upon seeing his elder brother Vishwarupa. Sri Vishwarupa, the personality of Godhead, was the Lord's elder brother. From birth, he was detached from sense gratification. He was the abode of all transcendental qualities. He explained that the purport of all scriptures is devotional service to Lord Vishnu, and no one was able to refute his explanation. With his ears, mouth, mind, and other senses, he would not speak or hear about anything other than devotional service to Lord Krishna. Seeing his brother's uncommon activities, Vishwarupa was struck with wonder and thought, this boy cannot be an ordinary child. His beauty and activities appear just like those of Sri Balagopal. I can understand from the uncommon activities he constantly performs that Lord Krishna enjoys pastimes through the body of this child. Considering in this way, Vishwarupa kept to his own activities and did not disclose this secret to anyone. He constantly associated with the Vaishnavas by discussing topics of Krishna, performing devotional service to Krishna, and engaging in the worship of Krishna. The people of the world were madly enjoying wealth, children, and education. Whenever they saw the Vaishnavas, they would ridicule them. They would compose blasphemous rhymes and recite them when they saw Vaishnava. They challenged, what is the use of being a sannyasi, a chaste wife, or a tapasvi? They must also die. We consider someone pious if he can ride in a palanquin or on a horse surrounded by 10 or 20 people. You all cry for the Lord with love and devotion, yet you remain poverty stricken. You loudly and repeatedly chant the name of Lord Hari, but he becomes angry when anyone loudly chants his name. People who are devoid of devotion for the Supreme Lord would speak to the Vaishnavas in this way, and the devotees felt great sorrow on hearing such things. The sound of the chanting of Lord Krishna's name could not be heard anywhere, and thus the people of the world continually burned in the fire of material existence. The Supreme Lord Sri Vishwarupa was most distressed because he did not hear any glorification of his worshipable Lord Sri Krishna. Even those who spoke on Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam would never explain anything about devotion to Krishna. The teachers wasted their lives in useless arguments. People of the world had not even heard the name Bhakti. Thus, the devotees headed by Advaita Acharya simply cried upon seeing the atheistic mentality of the people. In such distress, Vishwarupa considered, I will not look at the faces of these materialistic people, rather, I will go to the forest. Every morning, Sri Vishwarupa would take a bath in the Ganges and go to the gathering at Advaita Prabhu's house. Vishwarupa established devotional service to Krishna as the essence of all scriptures. On hearing his explanation, Advaita Prabhu roared with happiness. Advaita left his deity worship to embrace Vishwarupa, and all the Vaishnavas happily chanted Hari Hari. Then, in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness, all the devotees roared loudly like lions, and lamentation no longer remained in their hearts. The devotees had no desire to leave Vishwarupa's association to go home, nor did Vishwarupa have any desire to leave them. After completing her cooking, Mother Shachi told Vishwambara, "Go quickly and bring your elder brother." On the order of his mother, the Lord went to Advaita Acharya's house to call his elder brother home. When the Lord arrived there, he saw all the Vaishnavas engaged in discussing topics of Lord Krishna. Hearing his glorification, Sri Gaura Sundara glanced mercifully on them. Each of the Lord's limbs surpassed the topmost limits of beauty. Even millions of moons could not be compared with one of his toenails. Standing naked, his body covered with dust, Vishwambara smiled and spoke to his elder brother. "My dear brother, please come to eat. Mother is calling you." Vishwambara then caught hold of his brother's dhoti and followed him home. On seeing the Lord's enchanting form, all the devotees were stunned and they continually stared at him. The devotees practically entered samadhi. They were even unable to speak about Krishna. Devotees are by nature overwhelmed upon seeing their Lord. Indeed, even before the devotees realized his identity, the Lord stole away their hearts. Materialistic persons are unable to understand how the Lord steals the hearts of his devotees. Yet this mystery was disclosed by Shukadev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Please hear now the matchless discussions between Shukadeva and Parikshit from Srimad Bhagavatam in this connection. When Sri Gaura Chandra appeared as Krishna in Gokula, he played in all the houses there with the other children. Although they never considered Krishna the Supreme Person of Godhead, they had a natural attraction for him greater than they had for their own sons. Oh, sorry. From the time of the Lord's birth, the gopis had more affection for him than they had for their own sons. Although they never considered Krishna the Supreme Person of Godhead, they had a natural attraction for him greater than they had for their own sons. Hearing this, Maharaja Parikshit was struck with wonder. His hair stood on end and he inquired from Shukadev Goswami as follows: "Oh Goswami, I have never heard before such wonderful narrations within the three worlds. Please explain to me how the gopis displayed more affection to Krishna, for Krishna, another son, than for their own sons." Shukadev Goswami replied, "O Maharaj Parikshit, it is well known that the super soul is dear to all. When the soul leaves the son, wife, or friend, their body is taken out of the house. Therefore, the super soul is the life of everyone. That super soul is the son of Nanda Maharaja. Thus, the gopis have more affection for Krishna because of its natural characteristics of the super soul. This, however, applies only to the devotees, not others. Otherwise, why doesn't everyone show affection for Krishna? Why do demons like Kamsa envy Krishna? This is simply due to previous offenses. Everyone knows that sugar is sweet by nature, but if the tongue is diseased, then sugar tastes bitter. That is a fault of the tongue, not the sugar. The conclusion is that Lord Chaitanya is the sweetest of all. Although everyone saw the Lord in Navadvipa, no one except the devotees could recognize him. The Lord of Vaikuntha attracted the hearts of all the devotees as he enjoyed his pastimes in Navadvipa. After thus enchanting everyone's heart, Lord Vishwambara returned home with his elder brother. Sri Advaita Prabhu considered to himself, "This boy is not an ordinary person." Then Advaita said to the Vaishnavas, "I don't know what sort of boy he is." All the devotees then began to praise the beauty and charm of that wonderful child. Vishwarupa returned home simply out of formality. Then, as soon as possible, he returned to Advaita's house. The desire for material enjoyment never appeared in the mind of Vishwarupa. He constantly remained in the ecstasy of chanting Krishna's names. Even when he was at home, he never engaged in household activities. Rather, he would always stay in the temple room. When his mother and father spoke of arranging his marriage, Vishwarupa felt great mental pain. He thought to himself, "I will leave home and go to the forest." The heart of the Lord is known only to the Lord. Thus, after a few days, Vishwarupa left to take sannyas. Vishwarupa then became known throughout the world as Sri Shankararanya. As he traversed the path of devotional service to Lord Krishna, he became celebrated as the topmost Vaishnava. Vishwarupa's departure from home left Shachi and Jagannath grief stricken. Sri Gauranga cried loudly along with his family members and eventually fell unconscious out of separation from his brother. I am unable to describe their feelings of separation, by which Jagannath Mishra's entire house became inundated with crying. Understanding that Vishwarupa has taken sannyas, Advaita and the other devotees all began weeping. Everyone in Nadia who heard about the incident, both the ordinary and the exalted devotees, all felt unhappy. Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Devi were both heartbroken and continually cried out, Vishwarupa, Vishwarupa. Sri Mishra was overwhelmed with lamentation for his son, so his friends and relatives all tried to pacify him. Dear Mishra, please control yourself. Do not feel sad, for that great personality has delivered us all. When someone takes sannyasa, millions of family members are promoted to Vaikuntha. Your son has perfected his education by this act. Therefore, it is befitting for you to feel even happier than before. Saying this, they all held the hands and feet of Jagannath Mishra. Your son Vishwambara is the ornament of your dynasty. He will eradicate all your suffering. If one has a son such as him, what is the need for millions of sons? In this way, all of Jagannath Mishra's friends tried to pacify him, but his distress remained unchanged. Somehow or other, he regained his composure. As soon as he remembered Vishwarupa's qualities, he again lost his patience. Sri Mishra said, I have no reason to believe that this son will remain at home. Krishna gave me a son and then took him away. Whatever Krishna desires, that is what will happen. Independent of you, the living entities have no power whatsoever. Therefore, O Krishna, I am surrendering my body and senses unto you. In this way, the most sober Jagannath Mishra gradually controlled his mind through the process of jnana. That is the story of how Vishwarupa, who is non-different from Nityananda Swarupa, left home. Whoever hears the pastimes of Vishwarupa's acceptance of sannyas attains devotional service to Lord Krishna and freedom from the bondage of fruitive work. Hmm. We'll attain freedom from bondage of fruitive work if he wants freedom. If we don't want freedom, then we won't achieve. As the devotees heard about Vishwarupa's accepting sannyas, they simultaneously felt happiness and lamentation. They said, whatever little opportunity we had for discussing the topics of Krishna together, Krishna has taken away. Let us also leave home and go to the forest, then we will not see the faces of these sinful people. How long must we tolerate the burning words of these atheists? They are all continuously engaged in materialistic activities. We do not hear the name of Krishna from anyone's mouth. The entire world is absorbed in illusory happiness. Even if they are instructed, they will not take to devotional service. On the contrary, they taunt us, saying, what pleasure do you derive by worshipping Krishna? You even have to beg for your food. In this way, you increase your distress. It is not proper to live with such people. Therefore, we should go to the forest. Saying this, they sighed deeply. Attempting to console them, Shri Advaita Prabhu said, you will all certainly attain great ecstasy. Even now I am feeling overjoyed at heart, so I can understand that Sri Krishna Chandra has already advented. All of you go and happily chant Krishna's names, and in a few days you will see Krishna right here. Krishna will enjoy his pastimes with all of you. Then the meaning of my name, Advaita, will be fulfilled, and I will be celebrated as the unalloyed servant of Lord Krishna. All you devotees will receive mercy that even Shukadeva Goswami and Prahlad Maharaja did not receive. After hearing Sri Advaita's nectarian words, all the devotees chanted the name of Hari in great ecstasy. As the devotees loudly chanted the name of Hari, their hearts were filled with happiness. Sri Gaurasundara was playing outside with some other children, but when he heard the name of Hari, he went inside the house. The devotees asked him, why have you come here? The Lord replied, why did you call me? Saying this, the Lord ran away with the children, yet by his influence, no one could recognize him. Since Vishwarupa left home, the Lord became somewhat more peaceful. He constantly remained at the side of his mother and father so that they would feel some relief for their distress. From their distress, the Lord stopped playing and concentrated on his studies. He would not leave his books for even a moment. The Lord mastered a sutra after reading it only once, and he was able to defeat all others in debating its meaning. Everyone praised his wonderful intelligence and declared, "Glorious are the father and mother of such a son." In satisfaction, they then said to Jagannath Mishra, "You are most fortunate to have a son. Who have such a son? In the three worlds, there is no child as intelligent as this boy. He will defeat Brihaspati in learning. He can explain the meaning of anything he hears just once. No one is able to defeat his reasoning." Mother Shachi was pleased to hear about her son's extraordinary qualities, while Jagannath Mishra again became greatly morose at heart. Sri Mishra said to Sachi, "This son will also not remain at home." Sri Vishwarupa studied all the scriptures and understood the temporary nature of this world. After learning the essence of the scriptures, the sober minded Vishwarupa gave up transitory material life. If this boy also becomes well versed in the scriptures, then he will also give up material happiness and leave home. This son is our life and soul. If we don't see him, we will both certainly die. Therefore, he should no longer study. Let Nimai remain at home as a fool. Sachi replied, "If he remains a fool, how will he survive? Furthermore, who will offer their daughter to a fool?" Jagannath Mishra replied, "You are the ignorant daughter of a Brahmana. Lord Krishna is the doer, the controller, the maintainer, and the protector of all living entities. The Supreme Lord maintains the entire universe. Who told you that good education can maintain one? Whether one is a fool or a scholar, he will marry whichever girl Krishna has sanctioned for him. Education, birth, and other acted qualities are only superficial. Krishna alone is the maintainer and strength of all. This can be directly seen in my life. Although I am educated, I am nevertheless poor. Someone else may be unable to properly recite the alphabet, yet he may have thousands of scholars at his doorstep. Therefore, qualities like good education cannot maintain one. It is Krishna alone who nourishes and maintains everyone. If one wants to live without poverty and die peacefully, then he should serve Krishna. Education and wealth will not help. One's distress can never be mitigated without the mercy of Krishna. Even if one is endowed with high education, good birth, and great wealth, one may have luxurious items for enjoyment in his house, yet by the arrangement of the Lord, he may be suffering from disease. Such a person cannot enjoy a thing and thus burns in misery. I consider him more miserable than one who does not possess anything. Know for certain that one may possess great opulence, but unless Krishna permits, he cannot enjoy. Therefore, do not worry about your son. I assure you that Krishna will maintain him. As long as I live, I will not allow him to suffer in the least. We have Lord Krishna as our protector, and you are good. You are a good mother and chaste wife. So why should you worry? Therefore, I say that he does not need to study further. Let him stay at home uneducated. Saying this, Jagannath Mishra called his son and told him, "Listen, my dear son, from today on, I want you to give up your studies. I forbid you to continue. My dear son, I will give you whatever you desire. Stay comfortably at home." Saying this, Jagannath Mishra went to attend to his studies, and Lord Vishwambara refrained from further studies. Sri Gauranga Raya, the personification of eternal religious principles, followed his father's instructions and gave up his studies. The Lord was disappointed to give up his scholastic pursuits, so he again began to engage in childhood mischief. Whether in his house or in another's house, the Lord would break and ruin whatever he got his hands on. He would not even return home at night, rather, he would continue playing all night with other boys. The Lord and another boy covered themselves with a blanket and played as a bull. If they saw banana trees at someone's house during the day, at night, the Lord and his friend, disguised as a bull, would destroy them. Thinking that a bull was destroying his bananas, the house owner cried out in lamentation. As he came out from his house, the boys ran away. The Lord would lock the door of someone's house from outside, and the householder would be unable to come out for passing urine or stool. Of course, because previously passing urine or stool did not happen within the house, it was outside. When the householder cried out, "Who has locked my door?" the Lord ran away. In this way, Tridasha Raya played continually day and night with his friends. In spite of all Vishwambara's mischievous activities, Jagannath Mishra did not say a thing. One day, after Jagannath Mishra went for his duties, the Lord became very angry because he was not allowed to study. He then sat down on the old rejected pots that had been used for preparing offerings for Lord Vishnu. This topic is most confidential. Whoever hears it will attain devotional service to Lord Krishna. Using those rejected pots as a simhasana, Lord Gaura Sundara smiled as he sat there. The black soot from those pots decorated Gaura's limbs, and he appeared like a golden doll smeared with sandalwood pulp mixed with aguru. His friends went and informed Mother Shachi. Nimai is sitting on the rejected pots. When Mother Shachi went there and saw Nimai in that condition, she lamented and said, My dear son, this is not a proper place to sit. These are rejected pots, and if one touches them, he must take bath. Haven't you understood this by now? Lord replied, You don't allow me to study. So how will I know the difference between good and bad, or a fool and a brahmana? I am a fool, so I don't know which place is good and which is bad. Therefore, I consider all places equal. After saying this, the Lord smiled from his seat on the rejected pots and accepted the mood of Dattatreya, the topmost knower of the absolute truth. Mother Shachi inquired, You have sat in an impure place, so how will you purify yourself? The Lord replied, My dear mother, you are very childish. I am never in an impure place. Wherever I am, that place becomes most sacred. The Ganges and all other tirthas are present at that place. Purity and impurity is only our mental creation. Please consider what fault is there with the Creator. Even if something is considered impure by the Vedas and people in general, can it remain impure after I touch it? In fact, these pots are not at all contaminated because you have used them to cook for Lord Vishnu. The pots used in cooking for Lord Vishnu are never contaminated. Indeed, simply by the touch of his cooking pots, other places become purified. Therefore, I never reside in a contaminated place. Everything becomes pure by my touch. The Lord, in the mood of an ordinary child, smiled as he spoke on the absolute truth. Still, no one recognized him due to the influence of his illusory energy. Everyone began to laugh after hearing the child speak. Then Mother Sachi said, Come and take bath. The Lord, however, did not move from his seat. So Sachi again said, Come quickly before your father learns about this. The Lord replied, I tell you, if you don't allow me to study, then I won't leave this place. Everyone present then admonished the Lord's mother, Why don't you allow him to study? Some people take great efforts to get their child to study. It is most auspicious if a child wants to study. Which enemy has given you the idea to keep your son at home uneducated? This child has no fault at all. Then they said to Nimai, Come, Nimai, if you are not allowed to return to your studies from today, then you can continue your destruction. Still, the dog did not leave his seat. He continued sitting there, smiling as the pious people there floated in an ocean of bliss. Then Mother Shachi personally pulled him off his seat, and Lord Gaura Chandra smiled like a shining blue sapphire. The Lord spoke the absolute truth in the mood of Dattatreya, yet no one could recognize him due to the influence of his illusory energy. The pious Shachi then took Nimai to the Ganges and they both took bath. At that time, the magnanimous Jagannath Mishra arrived there. Sachi explained to him what had taken place. She then said, Our son is morose because he is not allowed to study. The others there said, Oh Mishra, you are broad minded. Who has inspired you to stop his studies? Whatever Krishna desires will certainly take place. Therefore, give up your anxiety and fearlessly allow him to study. You are fortunate that your son wants to study. You should arrange to give him a Brahmana thread on an auspicious day. Sri Mishra replied, All of you are my well wishers. Therefore, whatever you say, I must accept. Seeing the child's uncommon activities, everyone was struck with wonder, yet no one could understand him. Some most fortunate person had previously given Jagannatha Mishra a prediction. This boy is not ordinary. Please carefully keep this child in the core of your heart. Thus, the Lord of Vaikunta constantly enjoyed his confidential pastimes in the courtyard of his house. By the order of his father, the Supreme Lord then joyfully resumed his studies. Accepting Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavana Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. That ends chapter 7 of Adi Khanda of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. समवेत गौरव भक्तवृंद की जय। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। हरे कृष्णा।